God gives me success. The seed of a dream. From the time I was a child, I carried within me a quiet dream. It was not fully formed, nor did I know exactly what shape it would take, but I felt a pull in my heart toward something greater than myself. I wanted my life to matter. I wanted to rise above the ordinary and achieve something that would honor both my family and the God who gave me life. Yet, dreams alone are fragile. They are like seeds that require good soil, sunlight, and water to grow. My soil was not always fertile. My family struggled financially, opportunities were few, and society seemed to place limits on people like me. But the one thing I always had was faith. Faith was the water that nourished the seed of my dream, and God's light was the sun that gave it life. The first test. My early years were filled with small challenges that seemed enormous at the time. I remember failing a school exam and feeling as though the world had ended. Tears welled in my eyes as I thought, maybe I am not good enough. Maybe I will never succeed. But then I opened the Bible one evening, and my eyes landed on the verse, I can do all things through Christ, who strengthens me. That verse pierced my heart like a warm flame in the cold night. I realized that failure was not the end. It was a teacher. God was not punishing me. He was preparing me. So I got up, wiped away my tears, and studied harder. Slowly, my grades improved. That experience taught me the first lesson of success. With God, no defeat is permanent. The Valley of Doubt. As I grew older, new obstacles appeared. College was expensive, and I wondered how my family would afford it. Many of my friends gave up on higher education because of financial struggles, and for a moment, I almost did too. But I prayed with all my heart. I asked God for guidance, for wisdom, for a way forward. Miraculously, a scholarship opportunity opened up. I still remember reading the acceptance letter, my hands shaking with joy and disbelief. It was as though God Himself had whispered, I will make a way where there seems to be no way. Yet, even with this blessing, doubts crept in. Could I keep up with other students who seemed smarter and wealthier? At times, I felt like an imposter. But every time those thoughts attacked me, I turned back to prayer. Slowly, I learned that true success is not about comparing myself to others. It is about walking faithfully on the path God has given me. Hard work and faith, college life was not easy. I stayed up late studying, worked part-time jobs to cover extra expenses, and faced setbacks that made me want to quit. But through it all, I felt God's hand guiding me. There were nights when exhaustion consumed me, and I thought, I cannot go on. But then I remembered that God never gives us a burden too heavy to carry. He equips us with strength exactly when we need it most. Hard work became my offering, and faith became my anchor. I discovered that success is never just handed to us. God opens doors, but we must have the courage to walk through them, step by step. The first taste of victory. Graduation day arrived like the sunrise after a long storm. As I stood on the stage in my cap and gown, my heart swelled with gratitude. I was the first in my family to graduate from college. For many, it might have been just a piece of paper. But for me, it was proof that God's promises are real. I remembered the verse, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. In that moment, I knew my success was not only for me, it was a testimony for everyone who had ever doubted, for every child who grew up with little, and for every soul who wondered if God still works miracles. The wilderness of struggles. But success is not a straight path upward. After college, I entered the working world with big dreams and high expectations. The reality was far different. Jobs were scarce, competition was fierce, and rejection letters piled up like a heavy weight on my shoulders. There were days I sat in silence, asking God, "Why are you closing every door?" Yet even in that wilderness, I felt His presence. Sometimes, the delay is God's way of shaping us, of refining our character before the breakthrough. So I persevered. I polished my skills, volunteered, and kept applying. Slowly, opportunities began to emerge. Each rejection had prepared me for the right door, the one God intended for me to walk through. Breakthrough. One morning, after months of waiting, I received an email offering me a position at a respected company. Tears filled my eyes. This was not just a job. It was the breakthrough I had prayed for. As I walked into that office on my first day, I whispered a silent prayer of thanks. I knew this was not only the result of my hard work, but also the direct hand of God moving in my life. He had turned my setbacks into stepping stones. Climbing higher success, however, is not a one-time event. It is a journey of growth, discipline, and continued faith. At my job, I faced new challenges, tight deadlines, demanding clients, and moments of self-doubt. But each challenge became another opportunity to trust God. With every project I completed, every goal I achieved, I felt myself climbing higher. My supervisors recognized my dedication, and soon I was promoted. Each step forward reminded me that God does not just give us success once, He multiplies it when we use it wisely. Sharing the blessing. I came to realize that true success is not just about personal achievement. It is about lifting others, inspiring hope, and serving as a vessel of God's love. I began mentoring younger students who came from backgrounds like mine. I shared my story with them, the failures, the doubts, the faith, and the victories. I wanted them to see that with God, nothing is impossible. I also started supporting my family, helping my parents live more comfortably after years of sacrifice. Success meant little if I could not share it with those who had stood by me. A deeper truth. Looking back, I see clearly that every success in my life was not truly mine. It was God's gift. My intelligence, my opportunities, my perseverance, all were shaped by His grace. Success is not just about reaching goals. It is about becoming the person God designed you to be. It is about walking in faith even when the path seems unclear. It is about trusting that every closed door leads to a better one. I now know that God's definition of success is not measured only by wealth, status, or titles. It is measured by obedience, humility, love, and the courage to keep moving forward even when life feels impossible. Living testimony today. I live not just as a professional with a good career, but as a testimony of God's faithfulness. Whenever someone asks me how I achieved success, I smile and say, "It was God who carried me. Without Him, I am nothing. With Him, I can do everything." The seed of my childhood dream has grown into a flourishing tree. And just as a tree provides shade and fruit for others, my success is meant to bless those around me. Conclusion. The true secret of success. The journey to success is long, winding, and filled with both trials and triumphs. My story is proof that no matter how small your beginnings, no matter how heavy your burdens, God can turn everything into victory. If you are struggling today, wondering whether success will ever come, remember this. God's timing is perfect. He has a plan for you that is far greater than you can imagine. Trust Him. Work diligently. Keep the faith. And one day you too will stand on the mountain of success, looking back at the valley with gratitude. Because in the end, success is not something we achieve alone. It is a gift from God, a gift that transforms our lives and allows us to shine His light into the world.